Hello, Oracles. Well, today was Tesla Investor Buying Opportunity Day. So we don't know where the future is going to go for Tesla. No one does. But looking at what they went over in Investor Day last night, we have a very bright future ahead of us. So whatever happens in the near to medium term, it really doesn't matter because everything we heard about last night, the implications are for long term and what the plans are for the future to change the world over to renewable energy. Tomorrow night, we are going to be having Adam back on the channel. We're going to be talking about the macro environment, a lot of what has been going on with interest rates, inflation, and how that's going to affect the near to medium term, and then tie that in with Investor Day and what we learned last night, and how what could happen with the economy in the near and medium term might actually be even better for Tesla and what all the plans are that they came out with last night. So while we did see a little dip today, we did gap down. We will take a look at that. And while we may see a near to medium term dip, the long-term implications are very strong for Tesla. So we'll get into all of that, some analyst notes, some of the keynotes that we got from last night's Investor Day, and more in just a minute. All right, and so looking at the charts, like I said, we did gap down, so now we have a gap above us that goes to 198. What could potentially happen, we did see a little bit of a run into the end of the day today. We might see this gap fill tomorrow and then pull back further. And now, again, this isn't me being negative or spreading FUD. We'll discuss more of it with Adam tomorrow. But just seeing what's happened in the macro environment, seeing that the Fed came out today saying that they're most likely going to be seeing higher interest rates, yet the market rallied and cheered this, does not make logical sense. So we do have a lot of options that are expiring tomorrow. There's a chance that we might see this run up into that and then sell off afterwards. Again, don't know for sure, but just playing by what the options market looks like and playing by what the charts look like, this might end up happening. And now looking at the RSI with the pullback today, we did fall back down to 51, which is right in the middle. So we have room to go in either direction. But just remember, going up, that 214 level right now is kind of that level where we're overbought. In order for us to kind of minimize this, we need to trade sideways for a while to kind of pull things down and just level it off. But again, looking at everything else going on in the macro environment, there is a chance that we could be pulling down further. Now, however, despite a pullback that we may end up getting, Sawyer Merritt tweeting out Morgan Stanley's thoughts on Investor Day, Tesla's audacious efforts on vertical integration are about to pay off. EVs are far too expensive today. Tesla gave a number of drivers for a 50% cost reduction for its next-gen platform. In a race to the bottom, we seriously question how the competition can keep up. Adam Jonas also said that people shouldn't be disappointed that the next-gen vehicle wasn't unveiled. Quote, "From our experience, auto companies don't typically unveil far cheaper and potential better engineered products far in advance of SOP. Imagine you just placed an order for a $50,000 Model Y, and Tesla tells you there will be a slightly smaller version for half the price, with enhanced capabilities available soon. From a commercial standpoint, maybe not the best strategy." So again, if you guys did not hear it, Tesla Giga Mexico is now official. Elon did announce it last night, and he did say that they will be producing the next-gen vehicle at this factory. This is what we had been speculating about here on this channel, figuring that if they were going to be putting it in Mexico, the next-gen platform would be it. So looking at it with forward thinking, they discussed how Shanghai was built in about 12 months. They're anticipating they might actually be able to get the same thing out of Mexico. If they are able to build this at this speed and then ramp up at the same pace that we saw Shanghai ramp, we will end up seeing volume production coming, potentially, depending on when they break ground, by the end of 2024. Most likely it will be 2025. So that's still 2 years out. They're going to want to be working on things that are going to be coming out in 2 years. They don't want to be focusing on, let's build a factory for Model 3 and Model Y that are going to be coming out in 2 years. That's yesterday's technology. They want to be building what's going to be coming up next. That's the Gen 3 platform. So we did see that there were two vehicles that were still covered in this picture here. My guess with the first one here is this looks like it's going to be maybe a van and robotaxi. I think they are going to be doing both. Elon did allude last spring that we are going to be seeing a potential highly configurable van. So it makes sense if the platform and size and shape of the robotaxi will be about the same as a van, they could be doing both at the same exact time. That could be what is under this cover here. Now, this one here definitely looks like a smaller compact car of some sort. So I have a feeling that these two will be coming out, and I have a feeling that both of these will be getting produced out of Mexico. And now, as Farzad breaks down here, this slide helps us understand breakdown of Tesla's vehicle sales when they reach 20 million units per year by 2030. So the compact car would be 10 million per year. The 3 and the Y would be 5 million per year. The Cybertruck and Cybervan would be 4 million per year. The S and the X would be 500,000 per year, and the Semi is 250,000 per year. That seems to me like a pretty solid breakdown. And so another thing that they ended up going over was the breakdown in the cost. Going back to Morgan Stanley's notes about breaking it down to 50% cost reduction. We've seen a 30% cost reduction in the Model 3 since 2018. That still continues to come down to this day. We did not hear anything about Project Highland, but the Model 3 is still reducing costs. So the Gen 3 platform goal is to get us down to 50% cost reduction from here. Now, they did say this is going to be their goal. So just like it wasn't like coming out with the Model 3, they had 30% cost reduction. This is, as they start to put it out, they will do this at a cheaper cost and then continue to work on that down to cutting the cost by 50%. So it may take 5 years. So if they start building this in 2024, it may take until the end of the decade to get us down to that 50% cost reduction. Maybe it happens sooner. Don't know. They did a whole entire breakdown with all of the logistics on how they put the vehicles together and how that whole process is going to work. And doing all of that shows how they're going to be able to reduce the cost. So the initial cost reduction will happen. Then they'll be able to tweak it even more over time as they move forward with this. And so again, we'll discuss more of this tomorrow night on the live stream, but when you're looking at an economy that could potentially be going into a recession, still having some issues with that, having a lower priced vehicle hitting that total addressable market sweet spot in that sub $30,000, sub $25,000 range, that now addresses a much larger market where Tesla's going to be able to step in and really just kind of really overtake ICE. That right now is kind of the place where they're at, is that's the next big step that needs to be taken by EVs. No one else is really doing this at mass volume scale here in the US. Tesla will be the first one to do that. So again, we have no details on this. Sounds like we will be hearing about this perhaps later this year. Don't truly know. I think it's going to come down to when is this factory going to be built? Because once it's coming up to be built, we'll all be asking, well, what is the specific vehicle that is going to be coming on this Gen 3 platform? And I think we're going to be hearing about that either by the end of this year or the beginning of next year, right as soon as they're about to start production. But again, if their goal this year is to be able to make Model Y the best-selling vehicle in the world, they don't want to make an announcement for this next-gen car, because if they do, it could cause an Osborne effect on the Model Y. What the Osborne effect is, for you guys who don't know, is it's sort of like cannibalizing. So you're going to have the Model Y out there and people are going to stop buying the Model Y because they're waiting on that next vehicle to come out so that they can save some money. We saw this effect happen last fall when China rumors of price cuts were coming out and people just stopped placing orders because they figured that they were going to get lower prices in the future. They ended up being right, and that ended up playing out. Now Tesla has seen how massive that effect is. So they know that if they said, hey, we're coming out with this compact car next year, the rest of this year, sales could be very weak with people anticipating that compact car coming out. So that's a good reason why they're going to be waiting on this until it's actually ready to be coming out. And there was a lot of other good in-depth stuff that happened last night at Investor Day. Some people were kind of bored by it. Some people were kind of like, man, where's all the fun stuff that's going on? We do have to remember that Elon tweeted out previously, looking forward to Tesla Investor Day on March 1st. By this, we mean the broadest definition of investor, as in the people and life on Earth. It will be a message of good hope and positivity for the future. So people going into this with expectations that they were talking about investors like the stock market investors, and we were looking at a big positive bump to the stock price, that's not what the intention of this day was. So you have to remember that they're looking long-term down the road, investing in the future of humanity. That is what this whole presentation was for. So a lot of the stuff that they went over was stuff that we kind of knew on a broad general scope, but they went really deep in depth into all of the details on what this all was and their whole entire strategy to get there. So literally any other company out there who was looking to help transition the world over to renewable energy and be able to build a strong business behind it, Tesla literally laid down the groundwork of what they need to do to get there. They didn't keep any secrets. They basically built all of this themselves, and any tools they need and a lot of the software that they need, they are building themselves for pure vertical integration. And that is how they are able to do this at such a high margin pace. So this is why they're able to be so profitable, because they do everything themselves in-house. And throughout the entire presentation, they're talking about how they're converting more and more of their business over to be self-done. So this is huge going forward. And again, that is what this Investor Day was all about. So those of us who are long-term investors and investing in more than just the stock, it was a very important day for a lot of us. So you guys can let me know in the comments below how you felt. We had some great discussions, and thank you guys for the live stream. Almost 4.5 hours we were on. Longest live stream we've ever had on here. And you guys in the comments were fire. It was an absolute riot discussing everything with you guys in there. So thank you all so much for joining us. And if that's something that you guys are interested in, Fred and I will be going over some of the key points from Investor Day as well to dive into some of these things. If you guys are interested in watching that, if you haven't watched it and just kind of want to get some of the key points and key takeaways from this, we will be doing that next Tuesday. And his channel is Tesla Talk. If you guys have not seen it, definitely check that out. And he is also over on Twitter. Now, without making this video too long, I'll be able to go over more of it over the weekend and tomorrow when Adam is on. But they did show Optimus actually walking around. They did dive into energy. And don't forget, energy is going to be the next big S-curve. I have a feeling that energy might actually overtake the EV revenue by the end of the decade, which is bonkers to think about, especially if they're looking to get themselves to 20 million vehicles by 2030. Having energy overtake that is just mind-boggling when it comes to what the stock price and the implications of all of that mean. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Again, there's a lot more notes to go over. I've got 2 huge sheets here of information that I wrote down to discuss with a lot of different things. A lot to digest from all of that. I just wanted to give you guys a quick take on what I saw today and kind of the reactions in the market and reactions in the community. So shared that with you guys. Thank you all so much for your support. Again, leave your comments down below as to how you felt about the entire day, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great one.